Thank you for tuning in to My Why podcast today. This is the podcast where we fuel passions, share journeys, and inspire dreams. I'm so excited for today's episode. Our guest is an incredible storyteller and a rising author whose passion for writing began in her childhood. She published her first book on Amazon at just the age of 15 years old, and she hasn't stopped chasing her dreams since. Today, she joins us to talk about her debut novel, Capsize, a thrilling romantic suspense that's captivating readers everywhere. This is just the beginning of what's sure to be an amazing literary journey for her. Please welcome Kailaniimoore to the show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah, so I showed the book earlier. This is the book. You can get it now,
Yes.
Amazon. So it's on Barnes and Noble too. Website
Yes,
you
Barnes
can
and Noble.
order it from. So we're gonna get right into it though. So as I mentioned in your introduction, you published your first book at 15 years old, which is a major accomplishment because it's
Yeah.
not easy to write a novel, especially fiction. So what was that journey like for you?
Oh my goodness. Well, I was super, super inspired when I wrote my first book at 15. I call it a novella because technically, like I go by the word count. So technically this wasn't a novel, but it was a book. Like it had
Yeah.
chapters and things like that. I was just super inspired from sophomore year high school like history class. And there was we had a unit on apartheid. And I was like, wow, like this is so crazy. I was fascinated by the system in South Africa. And I was like, let me take this and kind of turn it into a historical fiction, but add some romance in there. I feel like I just love romance. I put it in like every story.
Yeah.
But as a 15-year-old, I was like, wow, like I can really just create this story and then publish it. Like I had the ability to publish it. And so I started writing about, this was a historical fiction romance about this little girl, not little girl, but she's about 14. She moves from the US back to her home, her mom's home in Johannesburg, South Africa. And she falls in love with this guy who's from France. So it's like an interracial historical fiction romance set in apartheid when it's over, but there's obviously still a lot of remnants of apartheid. So that was what the story was in a nutshell. But I was like, and I wrote it like over the summer. I was just really excited.
Well, I'm just curious. How did you? Because when you're doing a story in a different geographical area, like
Mhm.
how are you able to? Have you? I don't know. I'm just assuming. Have you been to South Africa? Have you been to
No, I
Benson? So
haven't.
how are you able to kind of set the space basically for it?
Yeah, yeah. For me, it was just a lot of research at the time.
Mhm.
Like I was just, I was watching videos. I was like reading about, true stories. I was, because I was also inspired by a history class, so I did learn. I had a lot of context, but
Mhm.
yeah, like there's nothing like going to the actual country and like stepping on the ground and breathing the air. Like that's
Yeah.
one thing. But I was just going off of the resources I had on my computer, which is like,
Right.
watching videos on YouTube, hearing other people talk about their experience. But
Mhm.
even if I haven't been there, I can still channel the feeling of like a forbidden romance, that type of
Mhm.
thing. Like that is like not universal, but you don't have to go to the place
Yeah.
to experience that specific emotion or that phenomenon. So I was just going off of a lot of that and then just looking at pictures also and just, seeing like, oh wow, just describing what I saw. So
Yeah.
there's ways to get around it, but again, I
Right.
agree. Like, there's nothing like going there and just, being there yourself.
Yeah, but it's also amazing that you're able to, even with collecting all that information, be able to create that universe, for that story. So I
Mhm.
always find that fascinating because the imagination is a strong place, and you really can go anywhere you want within your imagination. Which is why, like, I'm a writer too, you know that. So, like, it's such a fascinating, thing. So, like, okay, so this is your official debut novel
Yes.
that has been published, Capsize, and it's out now. Like I said, I'm gonna keep reiterating that, everybody go get that.
Yeah.
So this is a thrill, like we talked about romance, right? So this is a
Mhm. Mhm.
thrilling romance, more suspense though, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, is this the genre that you feel that you thrive the most in, or this is something it was a little different, doing more of the thrilling and suspense portion of it? It's like So how was that process?
Yeah, I mean, I had fun with the thriller suspense. Again, like romance is definitely, I feel like I'm like rooted in that because like I don't know, I just love like romantic banter and all of that stuff. But adding the thriller and suspense, that was just like fun for me because the suspense or the thriller
Mhm.
aspect of this novel is about this young woman falling in love with who she thinks is someone so great and someone just just charming and reckless and just a fun guy, but underneath the surface he's a trafficker. And like it's like how like that's the thing, that's like how do you
But
make
it's really
that
reflective of
real?
her
Sorry.
too. It's like the story is more. You would think that it's more. You're pointing at him, but she's a little more reflective
Hmm.
personally. It's like it's reflecting back on her.
Exactly, exactly. Reflecting on her and her impulse control or lack thereof, and her like
Mhm.
willingness or her ability to, turn away when things are,
Yeah,
when there are red flags. Like how do you do that? So yeah, I
yeah.
think there's a lot of also internal struggle with that, with her character. But it was really fun to write. And this was also because I started writing it like towards the tail end of my study abroad experience. So I had
Oh,
a lot
nice.
of fresh I had a lot of fresh like imagery and fresh experiences in my mind. Especially with like just living in another country, and like it can feel like this kind of um it's fun, but it's also scary, that's like it's
Yeah.
like a paradise, but it's also terrifying, and it can, snatch you in. So I was just, yeah, going off of that. And yeah, so that's how I
So
that's
then, yeah. So then, with that, what is your writing process like? I always like to like ask writers, like everybody has their own process, has their own
Mhm.
flow of how they do things. So what is your process like when you get an idea, or you go to want to write another story or book, or however you want to, it's all different types of genres, but
Right, right, right.
what is your process like? What are your main things you like doing?
Yeah. Well, I always start with an outline. I am the
Mm,
type of person that has to, like, I have a general outline. Of course, things change as you go.
yeah,
Like, as you continue to write, you're like, oh, like, this is a really good idea. Like, right now, I'm working on, well, I kind of tabled it because I'm in school and, like, doing
right.
schoolwork, but I'm working on another novel right now. And this one is, I have an outline, I have a general idea, but as I'm writing the chapters, I like, I was like, oh, this is a really cool idea that I can add in. Or
Mm,
sometimes I just like do a free write. Like
mm,
I have a journal and I'll just free write. I'm like, oh, like I could take this chapter in this direction. And then that sometimes can just change the whole
right.
trajectory of the plot. So, but I genuinely start with an outline. I kind of go chapter by chapter. But sometimes if I have a great idea, I'll just like write in my journal and then like save it and like
Yeah.
put it in somewhere else. Like sometimes I do that too. So it's like, I don't know. It's like organized chaos a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, same. I do the same. I'm like the same.
Yeah.
It's like organized. Well, the way I write, it's kind of like I get everything out, and then I go back.
Mhm.
I'm that
Mhm.
type of that, to do that. But I also had to get out of like the mindset. Speaking of school, like the mindset of having to be structured. You know,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
you think like, okay, I need to be almost in your head editing as you're writing, and I realize that's the worst thing to do. Like
Yeah.
when you're trying to create, especially putting a book together,
Mhm.
like you just need to get it out, and
Mhm.
then you can go back and do some reworking or whatever, or even as you're doing you can rework, but it's still a free write. It should still feel like a free write,
Exactly.
because I have stopped projects before because I was so frustrated with thinking about the editing portion and not getting the story out, which I thank God that I got rid of that. But like,
Yeah.
have you ever experienced that, like
Yeah,
just
absolutely. I mean, it's frustrating because it's like, yeah, and then writer's block, that's the whole thing, you know? It's like, okay, where do I go from here? And then it's like, yeah, it's like, and the thing is, I also go by like all killer, no filler. Like, so if you have
mm,
writer's block, you don't want to just like insert a bunch of like fluff or something.
yeah,
Like, I want it to actually have some substance when
yeah,
when you write. So I'm like, I don't really know what to do here. Yeah, so that part is just, yeah, it's just frustrating. But I mean, I think also stepping away and coming back, I've had to do that for sure.
very
Like
important.
literally just, and that's kind of what I'm doing now with the piece that I'm working on right now, is like I have to take a break because schoolwork is taking priority.
Yeah.
And so after I graduate, I'm done in December. so
Okay.
I can focus. I know, right? Yay. But yeah, I can focus a little bit more on the novel and like fleshing out,
Mhm.
where I started and like rewriting and rewriting that part too. Lots of
Yeah, and I think another thing people um don't realize that it's easy to not easy because not everybody has that ability, but
mm,
coming up with a story and characters are very it's very in your head. It's there.
mhm.
You can do it, whatever. But the physical toll of writing is very mentally exhausting when
Yeah,
you have to do it. Like I don't think people realize how exhausting that act of actually getting from thought to getting this accomplished. It
yeah.
is a mental gymnastics.
No, it is. It is. Yeah, you need like the what's it called? The cork board with like red tape or like
Yes,
red lines.
yes,
Because and it's like the plot, things have to make sense. You have to line up the plot. Like you can't have inconsistencies. And it'll be like the smallest little details that you have to go
mhm,
back and like, hey, does this make sense? Can she do this? But then like it's a lot
yeah,
of yeah, like you said,
the
mental gymnastics. It's like you
yeah.
have to make sure it's almost like a game of logic too. It's like,
Mhm.
whew, yeah, it's challenging. It is
So
challenging.
what is your so one of my favorite parts of writing is character development, right? Being able to see hear to know their internal struggles, to know where they land, where are the nuances, and and we're talking about books, but even with storytelling, when you're talking about television, movies, and film, and
Mhm.
when you're looking at characters, for me, it drives me absolutely insane when a character doesn't have nuance. Because
Mm,
as humans, we have a lot of nuance,
exactly.
or there's a characters that don't have redeemable qualities whatsoever
Right.
anywhere to be found, and that's not realistic
Mm.
to people as humans. Like, what are your thoughts on like character development or when you're building a character? Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Character work is one of the first things I do, honestly. I think, yeah,
yeah.
character work is so important because that's who, like, the protagonist, like, that is what a lot of readers go to the story for. A lot of the time, a lot of readers look for someone to relate to, or they look for a character that they can say, oh, yeah, like, I know someone like, so there's a lot of relatability that goes into character work as well. But I think also just making a character interesting is so important and making them have layers because it's not realistic for, just, oh, this person's all good, all bad, and I love the idea too of sometimes having an unreliable narrator. Like that can be
Mhm.
really, it's like, there's a lot of
Expand
in
on that. Expand on that. I never heard anybody really talk about that. So expand
yeah.
on
Yeah, it's just the person who, like they are the one telling the story. I write
that.
from first person a lot, so when I say
Okay.
unreliable narrator, I just mean the protagonist is telling the story.
Yeah.
But an unreliable narrator is just someone who you think like they're like on the surface, oh, I want to do this, but then their actions might say a different, like they
Mhm.
have their internal monologue. So you see their thoughts and like what they seem to want, but then as the story plays out, you have actual scenes of action and it's like, wait, but I thought you wanted to do this. So why are you,
Why
or
are
at
you
least
doing
in the context of my book, in the context of Capsize, it'd be like the protagonist is Taurus. It's like, Taurus, I thought you said, you don't want to get involved with the bad guy. So why are you going with him? Like
that?
that's
Mhm.
what I mean by unreliable. It's like you don't
Yeah.
really. It's kind of questionable, but I
Yeah.
think that makes it like at least me personally, when I read a story like that, I'm like, like what's going on. It makes me question and it makes me want to read more to find out like what are you actually about, like what is this protagonist actually about, like who is this person.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think also like we spoke about, you particularly like to write in more first person. Um,
Mhm.
I don't necessarily write in first person a lot, but I think that's because I originally wrote. I went from script writing to writing
Oh.
books, so I am very detailed with setting the scene, and
Mhm.
so I noticed that for me it's a little like that's just different ways. There's
Yeah.
so many different ways you can write something. It doesn't really
Oh yeah,
matter. but
absolutely.
but at the same time, it's like I always find that interesting because you do get to see the inner dialogue.
Yeah.
You can weave in and out of it, but it's I think it's always good to know like where is this coming from? Where because
Mhm.
people do that. People as humans do that. We
Yeah.
say, oh, I don't. I'll use that same example. Oh, I
Mhm.
don't like him. He's this whatever. But then you went on a date with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Somebody,
like,
yeah.
hmm,
Unreliable narrator. Yeah, it's very like realistic, honestly. But I think that just speaks to like, people having internal struggle. And I think
yeah,
that's also a lot of what like Taurus goes through in the book,
yeah.
a lot of internal struggle of am I should I be doing this? Even like just simple things like that. I don't know. And it's also just like voice. I think voice is just super
Hmm.
important, and in telling a character's story, you have to have a strong sense of voice of, the first person is supposed to be who the person is, so you're like literally hearing every like this person in and out because you can see their thoughts, you can see
Hmm.
what they do. So that's the part that I like a lot is being able to use voice when creating characters.
So there's like a saying: you read how you, so you write how you read, right? No,
Hmm.
you write how
Hmm.
you read. So have you always been somebody who likes to read a lot? What are your like some of your favorite genres to read? Like, are you a person that starts three books like me and keep it goes in between?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. You write how you read. Yeah, because I feel like I'm a sponge, honestly.
yeah.
Because I'll give you an example for right now. When I'm working on a fantasy romance, and over the summer I read the Fourth Wing, just Fourth
Hmm.
Wing, and I was like, yeah, I started to take not like stealing, but as inspiration.
Inspiration,
Exactly. It's like little I'm trying to think of the word, just like little nuances. Like when I read a book, I'm
yeah.
not now like I'm reading with intention, so I don't just read for the plot. I read for like, how does this author set up the characters? How does this author
Yes.
use like word choice, and like how does this author frame the plot along, like how was the pacing of the story? So I'm
Yeah.
not just reading for leisure. Like when I'm trying to write something, I typically read books in that same genre so that I can, get that inspiration,
Inspiration,
see how
yeah.
other authors do it, and
Yeah.
just go from there. But yeah, I mean, in the past too, I've read before, and then I stopped for a little bit after I graduated high school, um, and then got back into it like
Yeah.
later because I don't know, I feel like academic reading just like turned me off. I was like, I don't want to read it all.
Same. It's not the same. And that's the thing. A lot of people are like, well, I don't read. I'm like, you have to really read something you want to read.
Exactly, read something you
That's really
want.
the tea about it. It's like you don't. I get it, but also you need to pick up a book you actually like, and then
Exactly.
you'll read. Because I was the same way. Like I wasn't reading a ton as a more. I'll have a million books. You can see why I am.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I read, but I might be reading in like excerpts, But then
Mhm.
I was like, I want to pick up more novels again because I was always like in and out of reading novels because I didn't want it to when I was in the middle of writing because it would bleed. It would for me it would bleed into it. I'm thinking about their characters and I'm trying to create my. So I don't know. That's not
Yeah.
but. But then I found an author, Lisa Cross Smith. Have you ever heard of her? Too Close to Okay was my book. She Half Blown Rose. She is my favorite modern art author.
Really.
Her books, you can't tell me nothing. Her books are nobody can tell me anything. Her books were the best novels, and the reason why I say that is because her writing is so honest.
Mm,
And when I was reading it, it's not that it was so scandalous. I wanted to put it down. I didn't want to put it
right.
down. I was reading it because it was so honest that it just made that's what made me want to read it. How honest it
Mm,
was.
mhm.
Not because some books obviously I have my scandalous books like
Yeah,
cheating and that whatever.
yeah, right.
And when I read those, I'd be like, oh God, this is so
I know, yeah, it's
this
trifling,
is
yeah.
a guilty pleasure. But I
Mhm.
don't. So when you find like certain authors that you just know that the voice kind of not matches yours, but just you have the inspiration, like you're saying,
Mhm.
like that's just such you know,
Oh,
a
yeah,
good thing. So,
for
so
sure.
so with the rise of AI in the industry,
Ooh,
what are you feeling about it, and how do you think like other writers can maybe take advantage of it? Because it's not going to go away.
yeah,
You know.
I agree. Yeah, that's a huge issue right now. It's like wondering, yeah, I think AI, and I have so many thoughts about I have so many thoughts about AI. I think I mean, like anything, it's a blessing and a curse, right? It has its upsides and its downsides. One downside being like, is it taking jobs away? from
Mm,
people like, is it writing, can it write a novel? But
yeah.
yeah, I've had that question, enter my mind. But I think, and someone else told me this too, that AI doesn't have a soul. That's
Okay.
the thing. Like it can mimic human thoughts and human interactions and experiences, but it can't be that. Like you can't outdo the doer. Um,
Right.
like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So I think that is, giving me a little bit of solace in that. But
Yeah.
there are upsides to it. I mean, I feel like Chat GPT, like it's a good way of synthesizing information, or like it's a good way, not synthesizing, but streamlining. Like if like if you want to do a Google search, I don't know. I feel like you kind of have to like search through a lot of stuff, but
Yeah.
Chat would be like point A to point B. It's very like on
Yeah.
the nose. And I also use it for like, well, I use it for synonyms because I feel like, I don't know, I just use it as a thesaurus and it gives me like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example because I'll get really specific. I'm like a fiend for word choice. Like I'm
Yeah.
like I have to have like the right word to describe this action or whatever. And
Hmm.
so I'll be like really specific. It's like, that's not quite the right word. I mean something that's like this and that. Like, so that can be the upside that I see in
Yeah.
AI and things like that.
I think it can be very. I think we have to just embrace it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think it's one of those things because even if you use Grammarly, that's AI. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Or if you use people use pro writing,
Right. Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
AI. That's an AI capability. You know, like I said, using chat because sometimes you'll be writing something, and you'll be thinking like, okay, I feel like there's a hole in like a plot hole in it. I'm not sure if this
Mm.
makes sense. You can put that in chat and see does this make sense?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That this makes sense,
Writing
and
tool.
it'll be able to tell you like
Yeah.
like yes, this is of course they always tell you it's strong. Like this is a strong well. This
Oh,
makes
exactly. Right.
yeah,
Right.
but they'll say, but you kind of I'm not understanding this to this, and then you can go back and rework your work. So I think
Exactly.
there. Yeah, go ahead. Go
Exactly.
ahead.
No, yeah, I was gonna say, I think, yeah, there's definitely ways to use it to your advantage
Mhm.
without like crossing the line of it becoming plagiarism or just straight up
Yeah.
copying from like, yeah, you can definitely use it to your advantage and still have it be a useful writing tool because, like you said, yeah, it does give you great advice, like, this doesn't quite make sense, maybe reword this or something like that.
Mhm.
That's just like a writing tool. And like you said, like, we really define AI in a weird way. I feel me
Mhm.
personally, because yeah, Siri. You think about like 10 years ago, didn't we have like Siri, Grammarly? I'm like, is that AI? Because
Self
that is,
checkout is AI.
yeah, exactly. I'm
You know
like,
what I
there's
mean?
a lot of
Yeah.
things. It's a new term, like we got coined
Yeah.
recently, but I
They're
feel like we've
treating
had
it
it.
like it's like a robot coming.
Yeah, exactly. But we've had it. In my opinion, I think we've had AI for way longer than like it's
The 80s. It was in
been.
the 80s. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like what are you determining as, what are you defining as AI? Because there's a lot of things that could fall under that umbrella if you think about it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think even because the where I draw the line with AI and book writing is when somebody goes to ChatGPT and just types in write me a book, write me a romance novel that that has these two character names, and then just press, and then the thing writes a whole novel. That would be a problem
Yeah, yeah, no, you
because you
can't do
gave it
that.
no type of nothing came from you.
Right,
No.
exactly. Yeah, no,
But
no,
if
no.
you have if you have your book, you use it as a co-pilot and
Right.
make your life a lot easier because it does save you money too of not having to find a ton of people to.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? I know, right? Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. It's like editors, like what are
Mhm.
editors gonna do? Like technically chat could be an editor if you think about it.
Yes.
Or like finding, like you said, finding plot holes, or even
Mhm.
like character, like a lot of things, character names,
Yeah.
world building too. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, world building is a whole conversation. Working with fantasy, it's like, gotta come
It's
up with a cool name. I mean,
yeah.
it'll shoot out like 10 names for like, I don't know, like a fictional city or something. Like, are
Right.
all of them good? No, but there's a couple in there that could be useful. Or even you take like a portion of it and use it and
Right.
combine it with your own. So yeah, I think it definitely has
Yeah,
use.
it just depends on how and I think people want to I think people are scared they're going to get policed on how they use AI. I think
Right.
that's what it is. It's like this thing of like, it's like if I tell you I use ChatGPT to help edit, for instance, right? They'll
Mm-hmm.
be like, "Oh, well, you should have just called it edit." It's like, but a lot of these people who are editing now are using AI to edit for
Yeah.
people quickly. So I'm just cutting the middleman out.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Exactly.
you also have beta readers for that purpose to be
Right.
able to make sure when somebody's reading it, they can still feel the soul of the book.
Exactly, exactly. And that's
So,
the thing. It comes back to soul too. It's like, yeah, like
mhm.
there is such a thing. Actually, my English professor was talking about this, like AI voice. Like there is like you can tell the difference when you're reading something and it's just very, I don't know, very bland, kind of surface
Yeah,
level, the same sentence structure over and over and over. Like there's little tells that you can have when you read something. It's like, this is not like I don't think a human wrote this. Like you can just tell. Like humans, I don't know, they just have more emotion.
yeah.
No, it's you can't.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, it's that conversation is very nuanced because they have that same conversation in the music industry right now.
Mm,
Like, but I went to a render conference, and there was a AI music workshop, and the guy was talking about how they still use their own voices and they still have their structure of what the song to be, but
mhm,
AI kind of cut the middleman of having to like find a bunch of producers,
mm,
and was able to make a great song.
yeah.
And so that it can be, it's so powerful. And it's like, and to me, it's like either you're going to get on board or the ship is going to leave anyway,
Oh yeah,
without you,
exactly.
so I don't
Mm,
know. I always, it's a weird conversation because like I said, as a writer, we do protect our creativity,
exact. Right.
but also if you just if I think if people learn to embrace it, you can still have control of your creativity. Just use it as a co-pilot to
Mm,
cut out the middleman of a lot of other things.
exactly. Yeah.
Because
Just yeah. Use it wisely. Yep.
right.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's a whole thing. But so
Mhm.
what advice would you give like up and coming writers who have a book in them and they're just scared to expose their work? Because I think a lot of it too is just being that vulnerable to put it out. So
Yeah.
what advice would you give them?
Just writing is a gift to other people too, because it's a story. At the end of the day, I think everyone's story is super valuable. Like I think that's what makes us unique is we have a different story, even if we have the same like identity or even if we have the same background, there's a different story within that. And I think it's so important to share it with other people because even if it's fiction, it doesn't have to be a true story, but it's still something that can lift someone else up. Like there is I think like the same way there's a person for everybody. I think there's a story for everybody and a storyteller for everybody. Like so you could be that person for someone. You could be that storyteller for someone. It's like, oh, like I just love the way you write, or I love how different your writing style is, or things like that. So I think you should absolutely share your work. I mean, if you feel comfortable, of course.
Yeah.
And it's a vulnerability thing, and I completely
Yeah.
understand that too because it's scary. Like I was like a little, I don't know, I was nervous to like publish my novel because I was like, oh my gosh, like everyone's gonna know like this is me. Of course, I mean you
Yeah.
can also use a pen name. Like you can. I
True.
feel like there's still ways if you don't want to, expose your identity in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable. You can still put out your work. You can still share it with others, and not have it be, like I don't know, not have it be this like show stopping thing, like, oh, this is me, like I did this, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, you can have a pen name or you don't have to go out in public and do interviews and stuff. Like, you don't have to do that. You can just share
Yeah.
your work. There's a lot of readers who do that anyway, or like readers who like, yeah, I've never seen this author in my life, but I just
Like you don't know what they look like. It doesn't even like that's the I miss those things because I'm that person. I would love to just not have to. But
yeah.
you didn't know what they look like. It didn't matter what they look like. And
Hmm.
then,
Hmm.
a couple authors messed up talking. They messed up
Yeah.
that lore getting on social media talking. You know what I'm talking about.
Uh,
But yeah, some authors and they had big books too,
yeah.
huge sellers. And
Yep.
they started talking, it was just like and then they lost their audience.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people need to know that it's just better to stay on the page, baby. Stay on
Yeah,
the page.
exactly. Just stay on the page. Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
You can totally do that. Like it's yeah, I think oh man, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I think, sharing your work is definitely a gift to others though, absolutely. Because
Yes.
it's a story, it can be scary, but again, there's ways to get around that if you don't feel comfortable enough, but also like take pride in your work. Like that's awesome. Like if you have a story and you know you have a story, keep writing. Like yeah. Yeah.
Right. So my podcast obviously is called My Why,
Yeah.
and the reason why I says because what is your why? Like, why do you continue on this journey
Mhm.
of just being creative and being able and exposing yourself and exposing your work and sharing your work, and why do you continue on that journey?
Yeah, writing is just something that I've done since I was like really young, like 7, 8, 9 years old. Like I just love to do it. I don't know. There's nothing to. I just love to write, honestly. It's just been a hobby of mine. It is a hobby that I realized I can share with other people, and that other people might also like. It's kind of transactional in a way because I enjoy doing this. I can share it with others and they will enjoy, the work that I put out. So I'm like, this is a two-way street, it's a win-win situation for me. And I'm like, this is awesome because I it's just something that I love. It's
Hmm.
something that I'm fascinated by, just crafting characters. It's a great way for escapism as well. I just think it's just fun to, have a world and build your own characters and, like it's hard work, but I enjoy like working out the kinks of the
Right.
spot. Like I enjoy doing that. It's fun. It's fun to me. And I was like, wow, like this is amazing that I can have fun with this. And I can also sell my books and people will read them and enjoy them and hopefully, like stay in touch with me and see my next work. So I was yeah, it's just a win-win, I think. And sharing stories, like I said before, is just such a gift, you
Hmm.
know. Just literature is awesome. Like it's so cool. So
I don't know if you do this, but you ever just like you're just working on your stuff and you look up, it's been 3 hours.
yeah,
You know what
yes.
I mean?
Oh man. Yeah. When I tell you, okay, so when I was writing, whoo, yeah, when I was writing capsize like over the summer because I was not in school. I had
Mhm.
just gotten back from abroad. So, and I wasn't like I was kind of at work, but like for the time that I wasn't at work over the summer, I was writing. Like that was like it became a full-time job, like day
Mhm.
and night. And I don't know why. Like I tend to write better at night. I don't know why. Like I'm just a night owl. But yeah, I'll like look up from the clock. It'll be like 2, 3 in the morning, and I'm still like writing like chapters, but like it flows. That the thing
Yeah,
with
it's
me
a
is that it
flow.
flows. It's not
Mhm.
like I'm like struggling to do it. Like it comes
Right.
out. Like
Yeah,
I
it
have the
really is just
story.
a. It just happens. Yeah, no, I can. It's.
Yeah.
I love having this conversation because yeah,
Yeah.
for two other writers, because like people who don't write understand there is a flow that you get into,
Mhm.
and you can't
Yep.
get out of it until you're satisfied.
Exactly, exactly. That part. It's like you're gonna stay in it until I'm like, nope, like this thing has to be right. Like, let me finish this chapter. Like I can do it because I have it. The thing is, like my writing process is also I see it in my brain, or like I see a story, I see
Mhm.
a movie almost playing out
Mhm.
in my brain, and I just write out what I see. Honestly,
Right.
like sometimes that's how it is. I'm like I'm seeing a scene, like I'm thinking about it. It's in my brain. I'm like, okay, what happens next, and what happens? So I'm just like almost describing what I see on the screen that's in my brain,
Yeah,
basically. And
and
just
you have to get it out. Like it doesn't. Like you have to get it out when you have it there.
right,
That's the thing.
exactly.
That's really the tea. But it's like
Exactly.
no, I can't come this. I can't hold this for later. This has to
Right,
get on the page
right,
because
exactly. It's like right now.
it's not gonna be there.
Right. Later it will not be there. I will forget. Yeah, it's like, sorry, I gotta do this like right now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So okay, so we're gonna go into the next segment.
All
It's
right.
called questions that need answers.
Okay.
So you're gonna pick a category and then pick a number between 1 through 5. So I'm gonna go through the categories right now.
Okay.
So the first category is creativity and process. Second category is ideas and imagination. Third category is philosophical and reflective, and fourth category is playful and unexpected. So which category did you want to do?
Let's do ideas and imagination.
All right. So pick a number between 1 and 5.
4.
Okay, let's see what you got. All right. What's one idea you regret not pursuing?
Ooh, that I regret not pursuing. Man, in the writing process.
It could be anything.
Oh, literally anything.
Yeah.
One idea I regret not pursuing. I don't know. Oh my goodness. I Let me think about this. Wait, it can literally be like
Anything.
anything. Okay,
Anything.
okay.
Anything. Yeah, it's open.
So this needs a little bit of context. So on one of the last weeks that I was studying abroad,
Hmm.
all of my friends wanted to go skydiving.
Oh my God.
And the reason, okay, this is because I feel like I don't know, for some reason they treated like the last, few weeks of study abroad like they were, it's like, oh, this is the end, very much like YOLO, like we're just gonna do whatever because
Yeah.
we're never
Anyway, yeah.
experience again. But like I did not go. I did not go. But
Oh,
like now I'm thinking about it, and I was also living in Seville in Spain, and apparently that was one of the top places to like go skydiving, like in the world. I don't
oh,
know if it's because of like I don't know really, maybe it's the terrain or something. I don't know, but apparently it's one of the top cities in the world to go skydiving in. But I did not go. I was
well,
also like kind of broke, but that would be
so yeah, I would have did it either, to be honest. I just not a skydiving person though.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's I can see why you like, well, maybe what if I had,
What if I did? I think about that. I'm like, damn, like, what if I actually went skydiving? Like, that would be such a cool thing to talk about. Like, my friends did it, they have pictures and it looked really fun. I was
yeah,
the only one in the group, and I was like, no,
it's okay.
it's
You,
okay.
you know, you could always go back and do it. So
Exactly.
that's
I
the
can
good
always
part.
go back. I can always,
Yes, exactly. Well,
yeah.
well, that was a good one, actually. Yeah, that's a good. It's a, but it's still a memory now. It's like, dang, I had the chance to.
I know.
You
I
know?
had the chance to do it. I know. But like, that would be a crazy, I feel like this is like a funny story or like a cool story to say, like, yeah, I went skydiving,
Yeah.
studying abroad in Spain. I was like 19, but
Oh, man.
that's okay.
That's okay. Well, okay, so we're gonna wrap up with the last segment. This segment is called "Be Encouraged," and like every episode, I always this is like my gift to my guests since they just poured out. I wanted to be able to pour back in to
Yeah.
them what they just poured, as they just poured out. And so I always, like I said, before I do any episode, I always have go into prayer and meditation of like, is there something that you should know maybe in this moment or and when I get it, I write it exactly how I get it. I don't try
Mhm.
to remember. I write it down as soon as,
Right,
and I
right,
did
right.
something earlier this morning. So
Mhm.
for you, it says you are valuable. Don't let your differences make you feel like you don't match up or you're behind. Your value is in the places you hold high regard, like your passions, your integrity, your faith, and your self-respect. You're a precious soul, so hold on to your value, knowing that you're worth it.
Oh, I love that. Wow, that is awesome. And yeah, that's very on time actually. I really needed that because this semester has been busy. Like it's my last semester of college.
Yeah,
So naturally it's going to be busy.
yeah.
Like yeah, the value aspect of that is really important as I'm navigating this semester.
Yeah, because like that you're a particular person of who you are. So it's like just holding on to that and not feeling like you have to
Mhm.
conform to any other way of being in
Mhm.
order to progress in whatever way you find that you want. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Absolutely.
So just knowing and holding on to like you're valuable as is, no change needed.
Oh, yeah.
So
Thank
so
you.
yeah. So I hope that resonates with you.
Thank you.
And I hope that you just hold on to that
I
for you.
will. I definitely
And
will. I appreciate
and congratulations on finishing about to finish your journey of college. And I know what that
it.
feels
Yes.
like.
Ooh,
I know
yeah.
what it feels like. Those first 6 months when you get out of school always feel so dramatic because
Nice. Okay.
they do. They feel so dramatic because you're
Yeah.
like, oh my god, I'm no longer in the college bubble. College is a bubble.
Yeah.
No longer in
Yeah.
the
I'm
bubble,
like,
but don't freak out. It's okay, and always be okay with. if any, making pivots if you need to, doing whatever you need to do to get the life that you want.
Yeah.
There's not one way to do anything. There's
And
always many different ways. So don't feel like you have to be, go down particular paths or go down whatever. You really should you just follow your heart, follow, guide yourself. Because I'm in the third, I would say I'm in my third career
mhm. Oh,
since
wow.
college. So
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Because,
Thank
you just
yeah.
never know. You just never know.
Yeah, I need that for
Yeah. Yeah. So it's okay. And like I said, I know that feeling when it's just like, oh God, I gotta go be an adult now. Okay, okay, let me
Yeah,
go.
I know. I started thinking about oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I find a place to live, like, have my own apartment maybe." Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Lots of unknowns. That's
It,
the part
yeah,
that's
that's what it
hard.
is. It's a
Lots
lot
of
of unknowns.
unknowns.
But you can do it. So let it be that. You don't have to.
Mhm.
And I think it sucks that how social media is. Thinking you have to be at the end of something you just
Oh,
started.
yeah, yeah, a lot of expectations of
Girl, go get that studio apartment
yeah.
and start there and move and do whatever you know what I mean. Like, don't
Yeah.
worry about it. Go get that studio. Don't go get that high rise at the end of the
Right.
week. Don't save your money a little bit. Don't
Exactly,
do
yeah, exactly.
it.
Saving.
Save your money a little bit and go and have fun and enjoy it. Cause and then you realize what's funny too is that I had like an epiphany way back when. I had an epiphany that like, oh, I can do whatever I want. That epiphany of like, huh, I don't
Mhm.
have to do it. I don't have to eat dinner at 5 o'clock. I can eat dinner at 10.
Yeah.
And I can say, it's like little things like,
Mhm. Yeah,
and I'm
you don't have to do these yeah, exactly. Yeah, college, even though it's, like, free, it's still very, like,
structured.
structured in a way. Yeah,
Mhm,
it's like you have class, like, you have to carve out your day around class and
mhm,
whatever extracurriculars you have, like, I'm in student government, I'm, like, in a couple clubs, so I'm, like, doing that, but it's like,
mhm.
yeah, after that, we'll see. It's gonna change. I know that.
Yeah, and then and like I said, the reason why I said about your value is in whatever you hold in a high regard, not what you do.
Mhm.
It's not in what you do because what you do can change any moment.
That's true, that's true.
Who you are is where your value is, and
Right.
that's what you're holding on to. Because a lot of people they're so shifty
Mhm.
because their value is what they do and
Right,
what
exactly,
and so
exactly.
when that changes or that shakes or like with people losing job and things like that, your whole life will feel crushed if your
Mhm.
value is in what you do. But
Exactly.
you can love what you do and be in what you do, but don't hold your value in that.
Right, 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 right.
So it's just all
Yeah,
it's a whole thing.
lot,
So
lot,
yeah, it
yeah,
is. It is, but you can do it and it's exciting. It's a good time and it sounds like you've had amazing experiences in college too and
yeah.
being able to do
Appreciate
stuff. So it's just such a good I miss those
yeah,
days.
no, no, it's yeah, I'm thankful, I'm super thankful. It's bittersweet, but
Yeah.
thankful for everything, for real.
Yeah, at 33, I think of I remember those days, and it's just like those were such amazing times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm having a good time now. Don't get me wrong, but it's just I got more
Mhm.
money to
Yeah, yeah, looking back.
do the good times.
Right.
So that's the only thing that changed in the 30s.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, but thank you so much for coming on today. It was
Of
such a fun
course.
conversation, such a good
Yeah,
conversation, and I just hope somebody who listened to this conversation, like they just feel inspired and just feel, like, oh, okay, you know what? Let me go ahead and just get this idea out of my head and at least write it down somewhere.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so, but yeah, so thank you so much for coming on once again.
of
Your
course.
book Capsize, you can get it on
Yes.
Amazon or Barnes and Noble online,
Mhm.
and go ahead and cop that. I just want to make sure everybody see that, get that in your brain right now. So
Mhm.
I appreciate everything and
Aw,
thank you.
thank you, I appreciate